She was on the bed. It hadn't even a month since period started. This girl was married to me. She was very young and innocent. So I went and sat on the bed, put my hand on her lips, and she jumped. So I said, "The real game starts after the lights go out on the wedding night." Was a little scared, and I finding it very difficult to control emotions. So I quickly turned off the lights and pulled her by her hair. Poonam was very scared. My family hadn't even seen her age. They wanted me to marry a girl so young. I didn't want to marry a girl young, but my family didn't listen to me at all. Poonam was my sister-in-law's sister. My sister-in-law, Puspa's sister, Poonam was married to me. Now, at this moment, Poonam was sitting on the bed in my room, dressed as a bride. I called her Krishna and went out on the bed. I didn't want to get married in the first place. Her lips started trembling. So she quickly pulled my hand back and said to me, "What kind of shamelessness is this? Take your hand back." I said firmly, "Why should take my hand back? You're my wife now anyway. I've been wanting this for a long time." I was saying all this too, and she got very sad. "Look, I don't like to hear such vulgar things. I don't like such shamelessness at all. So stay away from me. Miss Poonam, you better be prepared for this shamelessness. You know what happens on the wedding night, right?" Poonam said, "Don't think of me as a milk-drinking child. I also know what a husband does on the wedding night." Hearing this, I said, "Husbands also give wives a mudichai katopa." She was very scared. Then I gave her a nightgown from the closet and said, "Put this on." And she took the nightgown and went to the bathroom to change. When she came out, the makeup was gone, and she was even more beautiful in that fine mesh nightgown. She had started braiding her loose hair, so I told her, "You look beautiful with your hair, just leave it loose. Your open hair looks great." Then I held her tightly from the side and said, "And you? Why are you so scared already? I haven't done anything yet, and you're already scared. What will happen to you when I do everything to you? Your whole world will seem to spin." He wanted to prove to his family that bringing two sisters from the same house was a wrong decision. I was scaring Poonam, and she got so scared that she ran straight to her sister's door and started knocking. Along with Bobby, Mummy also opened the door. Poonam was crying. Everyone got worried seeing Poonam like this. They started asking her what happened. "Why are you crying?" But Poonam was not able to answer anyone. She was only saying one thing, that she will sleep with her sister Sudha. Seeing Poonam in such a condition, Poonam's sister makes her sleep in the room. My mother said what happened to her. The wedding. She seemed very happy with the rituals. I said, "You must have been marrying off a girl so young. Now look, she hasn't even held on to her childhood, and she's already starting to make a fuss." When I turned to look at her, she started to speak. I couldn't keep my hands off my wife. I said, "I just held her hand, brother. Now I can't even hold her hand? What did I know? She would make such a fuss." They started saying my fate is black. I said she's just doing this mirage because she thought that she would get expensive gifts, wear new clothes. She didn't even know what marriage is. The dark night is not just yours. Mine is also dark, so you should sleep quietly. My hair doesn't turn black. I said to myself, this should happen with you. Got married, so you got me married too. I kept crying, kept saying, brother, talk to Mum for me. I don't want to get married now. But no, now it's fun, isn't it? When you have to spend your wedding night without a wife, it's great. This is a good start. Just watch. With those foolish boys and my recklessness, no one in the next generations will make this mistake. Meanwhile, the next morning, Sudababi and Poonam all came out of the room together. Mom had already made breakfast. My brother's mood was very bad. Sometimes I would stare at her, and she would quickly look down, scared. I wanted to instill fear in her heart, so she wouldn't come near me or try to enter my room. I was very happy in my heart, and I was enjoying myself greatly in my room. I felt like going to my friends, so I did. After 4 days, the farewell ceremony for the two sisters was also there. Today was the 6th day of our wedding, and my in-laws had come to our house. In this way, many days passed. Today, both of us brothers went to our in-laws' house to pick up our wives. On our return, I scared Poonam again. "What will you do today? How long will you hide from me? You have to come to my room, don't you? And today, you are also." After a while, I let go of her hand. Now we had reached home, and my brother had told Bhabhi to say that no matter who knocks or the door of your room today, you will not open the door. So she was explaining to Poonam, "He loves you. He won't say anything to you." Poonam said, "You don't know what he has done to me." Bhabhi was explaining everything to her behind the curtain. If a husband and wife are together in the bond of marriage, then they one body and one soul. Look, you had no objection at that time. You said okay. You had no objection to getting married. She said, "How was I to know this would happen at a wedding?" "I don't know." I will not go to the Akash's room. Ramesh Bhai was standing near his room's door, arms crossed, staring at Bhabhi. And she was trying to pull her hand away from her, and looking away repeatedly, trying to explain to her. "That Akash will not tell you anything, doesn't that?" She started saying, "Send me to Dad's house. I don't want to stay here." But Bhabhi somehow left Poonam in the room. I was smiling, but I didn't know she would be scared like that. She came into the room silently, without speaking to me. She opened the door. She didn't even close the room door. She took a piece of clothing from the cupboard. She said, "With you." "I can't sleep," I said. "It's your wish. You're good. Now turn off the light and close the door on your way out, okay?" They quickly agreed. Everything was fine up to this point. She didn't say anything to me. Most of the time, her only job was to bat and talk with my mom, laugh and tell jokes. Dad was also very happy in her company. When everyone went to sleep, she would go and relax on the sofa in the courtyard. She would go to sleep, and then, before everyone woke up in the morning, she would come to my room and throw a pillow. Papa was sending Paya and Papi for honeymoon. Big son and daughter-in-law were very happy, but Poonam was very sad. She started saying, "Sister, why are you leaving now? Take me with you. I also want to be with you all. I will also come back after roaming around. I don't want to go with the Akash." But Bhabhi explains it to Poonam and goes away. Poonam started sleeping in Bhabhi's room, but now I also wanted that she came to my room and talked to me. Now my emotions were also overflowing, which were starting to bother me. But the way I had scared her, she was scared to see me. Once, I couldn't sleep. I thought about her. Then I came out of my room. I turned the knob of Ramesh Bhai's room, and the door was already open. I knocked lightly, but there was complete silence inside. I lightly knocked on the door again, but Poonam didn't respond from inside. I thought, enough was enough. My anger should end now. I wanted to live my married life like Ramesh Bhai. It had only been 8 days since Ramesh Bhai left, and they were supposed to come back after 8 days. Then I therefore knocked on the windows to wake up her. There was also fear that my voice might go into Mom and Dad's room. With great difficulty, she opened her eyes. She came to me and started saying, "What is it?" I said, "What's the usual? Just come to my room with me." But she started shaking her head and said, "Whoa, no." I was burning up inside. I had already hit myself with an axe. She slept with the window and door closed. Next day, she had just rice and lentils on my plate. I put my foot on top of her foot. She screamed loudly. Everyone else started looking at me. I also looked at her in anger and put my thumb in her foot. She was trying to move her foot from my feet, but she would not pull her foot back, and then I would reach her foot. She was so nervous. She hadn't eaten properly since Bobby left. All the work was on her head. She had come, asking Mother. She would make food, and she had made it well. At night, when everyone was in the courtyard, she was washing dishes in the kitchen. I quietly came into the kitchen, took a bottle of water from the fridge, and poured it into a glass. I started drinking after putting it in. She was busy washing dishes. After drinking water, I stood right behind her and hugged her from behind. She recoiled in fear. I'd pressed her mouth with my hands, and She was jumping wildly, badly shaken in my arms. Turning to look back, but I'd already rested my head on her shoulder, and I said, "Why much? You are running from me." "I'm your husband," she said. "Hakas, please leave me." I said, "Today I leave you. But today you. Come into the room anyway. Tomorrow Brother and Bobby are coming back tomorrow. I will make you pay for this." I don't know why, but I always spoke to her in such a harsh tone. She started to shout. I quickly let go of her. Mom and Dad were both in the kitchen. The next day, my sister-in-law and brother came. Our wedding was only 2 months away, but Poonam was out of control. After everyone went to sleep, she would go out to the courtyard and lie down. I came out of the room, grabbed her wrist, and turned off the light. I had just brought her to the bed when I heard Ramesh Bhai knocking on the door. Mom opened the door, and he said, "Sudha is very sick. Mom, please come and see what's wrong with her." Mom gave Bobby some water and then took her to the doctor. It turned out that Bobby was pregnant, but the doctor had advised bed rest. It was good news, so I was happy too. I thought, well, I'm going to be an uncle. So now our honeymoon? Cancel. All the responsibility of the house fell on Poonam. She used to go to the sofa and sleep after finishing the housework for the whole day. I felt sorry for her. She was so young and had so much responsibility. And my behavior towards her wasn't good either. I started to feel sorry for myself. She was exhausted. I told her, "I won't let you sleep on the sofa. Turn off the light." Since then, I would help her with the work in the kitchen. One day, I told her, "Will you be friends with me?" She didn't say anything. "I don't want to be friends with you. You are not a good person." I said, "Why are you saying this? Because you forced me." "I will never do that again." She said, "You won't force or harass me, Will. What you did that day, it took my breath away." I said, "I won't even touch you now. Just be friends with me." She said, "I used to take her out on my motorcycle and even buy for her ice cream. She was a very good girl." I had accepted that I had unknowingly done wrong to her. 9 months had passed. Bobby suffered a lot. It was as if the ground beneath our feet had vanished. They said, "Mr. Ramesh, you have a son, but we couldn't save your wife." It was something we couldn't believe our ears. How could this have happened? Ramesh Bhai was like that, as if a calamity had befallen us. Poonam and her brother were in the worst condition. It was the first time I had ever seen my brother cry so openly. I couldn't understand how all this had happened. On one hand, I was taking care of my brother. Mom and Dad both reached the hospital, but the baby was still with the nurse because I was busy taking care of them. My mother-in-law hugged Poonam and started crying. When this news reached Poonam's parents, it was as if a mountain of troubles had fallen on them. My brother also became completely silent. When you talked to him, it felt like he would start crying. I was the only one comforted him. 2 months passed. I felt like Poonam had aged a lot beyond her years. She would say, "Chintu won't stay quiet without me. He stays with me more." I said, "I'll take care of him." In this way, a year passed, and I longed for Poonam. But Poonam didn't have time to leave the house. She was busy with everyone, and who could bear this? Soon, her elder sister was sent back to her parents by her in-laws, who said they couldn't afford her. In this way, my family and Poonam's family came together. And Ramesh Bhai and her widow sister got married. After that, she and I also started getting closer. She had become very understanding and started to understand my emotions. She also started talking to me love. In this way, we both met one day. And in this, we two souls became one. After 6 months, Poonam smiled again. After 9 long months, Poonam gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, which added to my joy immensely. How did you like my story? Please let me know in the comments what I did with Poonam at the beginning. This kind of child marriage happens in Bihar. You will definitely hear stories like this. But what do you think of my story? Let me know in the comments.